It is the Heat SIRIUSXM Mina SayWhat. I am here with the one and only Keke Palmer is in the house. You know it's your girl, Keke. You the one.
No, not the two.
Okay.
One, not the two.
You the one, not the two, Keke. Get it right. I'm so happy to be talking to you. I'm a new mom. I have a 2-year-old.
Oh my gosh.
So,
I have 2-year-old too. Our baby's the same age.
I know. So they're deep in their terrible twos. I feel like I have this instant weird bond with moms.
Yeah, no,
that
for
have
sure.
kids around the same age.
Yes.
Because I feel like we're all going through the same thing.
Yep, trying to figure out what the milestones. Your baby
Right.
talking. What he saying?
Right,
What they doing?
right. Is she eating? She
Yeah.
want to eat this today.
What
she
are
want to
you
eat
doing?
rice all day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have this camaraderie that I already feel with you. The last time I saw you, we were at Halle Berry's movie lunch.
Yep. That was really a cool way to me to get people together to talk about what that movie was about, especially all the moms.
Right.
Me as a new mom, and I've always looked up to Halle, so I was happy that she plucked me for that.
Yeah, and I thought that was kind of a moment where, you know, you sing and you act. You're such an entertainer. I thought it was a moment where she was kind of like extending her hand a little bit to you.
For sure.
Which she's like the epitome of everything, right?
Yes, for sure.
So I love that she was kind of in this moment just reaching out to you in some way. Even though we're talking about her film, but you were the only artist that was there.
Yeah, and I felt the exact same way to you. Like when I got the call, I was just kind of like, wow, it felt personal because I didn't know her personally before then.
Right.
So when she did, I really loved that. And I mean, since then, we've been figuring out or wanting to figure out how we can do something together because, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So your album is out right now. Can we clap it up for that? Just
Hey!
Keke. Why that name? I mean, it's obvious when you listen to the album, but please explain.
I mean, pretty much. Well, when I first came to the name, I came to it because I was thinking about what kind of vehicle, what kind of story device do I want to use for this album? And that's when I thought about kind of like a variety show, you know, a show, Just Keke. The name is from my original talk show that I had when I was like 19, I can't remember, but it was my first talk show ever. So I wanted to bring that name back and then do it in this variety show concept. But then as I continued to, like, obviously, for me, I can't say that creatively I'm always being so strategic. A lot of times I'm just in flow, and then I realize, oh, wow, this is the picture I was painting the whole time. So when it came down to it, it's like, yeah, this is what I'm saying, is that at the end of the day, you know, whether you know me as an entertainer, whether you know me personally, whether you don't know me at all, I'm just Keke, you know what I'm saying? And then also putting in the project all the things that make me that, from acting to, you know, comedy to music and everything in between.
I feel that because I feel like from you I get a lot of authenticity. It doesn't matter in one space you're in. I never get like you're being fake or you're playing a role. Like you're going to be Keke no matter where you go. Sure. So I think that the title is just very apropos for who you are.
Oh my gosh, I love that word.
Girl, now let's talk about it. Because you are going into the relationship in this album.
Yes.
In many forms. Obviously, we have the audio form of it. But then you put out a visual album, girl, where you are slaying. You're giving 1, 2, 8 steps.
Oh, my God.
Okay, the hair is together. You acting. You playing Brandy from Moesha.
Yes.
You playing Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City. You was giving us roles.
Period.
Inside of your album.
Yes.
How did this come about? There's a lot there to unpack.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love a reference. Obviously, I love Brandy. She's always been an icon to me. You know, I'm a fan of Y2K, the 2000s as a millennial girly. Mm-hmm. But all those women also, I think, you know, when we think about powerful, strong women, a lot of times in the public eye are flattened, especially when you get a glimpse of feeling like, oh, their life is not so perfect. And so I think referencing them was also a little bit of me sharing that artistic data, I guess you would say, and wanting to pay homage. But then also the show, the album is through the lens of me having a variety show. So in many ways, these vignettes are kind of like you think about Amanda Bynes' show, Moody's Point, or kind of these satirical tellings of the situation and theme. So I just also use them creatively as devices, but also, like I said, on a deeper level, I relate to those icons and, you know, their representation for me in many different ways, even having Issa Rae in there.
Yeah.
And, all that stuff.
Yeah. It's funny, the Issa Rae part, because she's like, you're not just a baby mom or something like that.
The album opens up with me on stage and getting heckled. And then when I wake up from the dream, and when I wake up, you see Issa Rae, and it's like, Issa Rae, what are you doing? You know, why are you in my head? And she was like, I'm the voice in every black girl's head.
Right.
And it's like, that for me was very reminiscent of like growing up watching Lizzie McGuire.
Yeah.
And Lizzie McGuire would always go into her head and she would have that cartoon. It's like my cartoon, the person in my head is Issa Rae. that voice.
You know what? Now that you're explaining it, it's kind of special that you managed to not only tell your story about your past relationship in this album, but then also have so many character references and pop culture references. So it makes it really interesting. So there's 3 acts in the actual audio portion, right?
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, we don't when you watch the visual, I don't make that visual, but you can feel the shift.
Right. Yeah.
From this is the beginning, this is the middle, and this is the end.
The end. Yeah. Right. And then the visual album is 30 minutes long, and it's literally like we're watching the movie of your love life.
Yeah.
So it's incredible. We're going to go into Confessions, because for people who haven't heard, I need them to listen to Confessions, and then we're going to get into the themes a little bit of the album. So tell me about this song.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, when I wrote this song with Taylor Park, she executive produced the album, and Cam, shout out to him. She kept saying, we got to talk about the night. And I'm like, what you mean we got to talk about the night? She was like, talk about the night. And that's when we came to my Confessions, and specifically using the sample, because that adds a little levity and a little satire and humor for those that know, obviously, who doesn't know Confessions Part 2 by Usher. And then telling my story, but obviously my full story, the one that I've never told. And I think essentially it's also just kind of like a piece of that album, the beginning, of what is to come.
All right, let's get into it. Confessions here. Keke Palmer is here. Just Keke is out right now. We're going to get to all the details of the album on the way. It's Mina SayWhat. You're here in Mina's house on the Heat, SiriusXM. Keke is here. We are literally Kekeing. Okay. You got the red hair going. I love this red hair on you, girl.
Oh my gosh, thank you, boo. I had to bring the ginger into the theme.
I see it. It's here. Okay, you the one.
Oh my gosh, not the
two. Keke is here. Her album Just Keke is out right now. So we heard Confessions just a bit ago. This is your side of Keke and Usher gate, if you will.
Come on, I live for Keke and Usher gate. That is such a good way to put it. No, straight up, I live for that. Yes.
So, at the time, we did not know that you were not with the father of your child when we're watching you having your girls' night.
Yeah.
I'm interested in knowing, why did you withhold that information until now? Because that shows a lot of restraint on your part.
Oh wow, yeah. Because you know why? I really didn't feel like it was good to speak in public. Obviously I've been in the public eye for a long time. My son's father has not. So obviously his choice to do that was his own in his own way. But I just know, for me, with my platform as a performer, that's the last thing I would want to perform is drama or the chaos of my personal life. So I kept it quiet because I felt like it was inappropriate, and to my audience. I have so much respect for what I share and what I give them. I just didn't want to perform drama like that. And so that's why I was quiet. And I think with the album, it was less about like, let me set the record straight, and more like, this is my truth. And in that truth, it does expose things or answer questions that maybe people had about that night and situation. So it was just kind of like, I cannot avoid this part of my life, especially if I'm doing an album. An album is the most personal thing you can give. It's not a character. It's almost like a stand-up. I would have talked about it maybe in a stand-up, what I mean? Or just as I would with an album, but the album came first. And so, yeah.
So I thought it was interesting, because I feel like if people would have had that information, maybe, because there was a lot of criticism of you at that time for whatever reason. I feel like if people knew you just weren't together, it would have really changed the narrative of how people looked at and attacked you, right?
Yeah.
But I see why you saved it, because you're a seasoned professional.
Oh,
and you're not just going to social media and airing people out. But I think it's important that you're telling your story now. What was the most difficult thing to tell on this album, Just Keke?
So I think there are 3 songs that were really difficult. And I would say that I was talking a lot about in the studio as we came to these songs, and being very particular about what words we used and even the tones and the melodies, because I don't want anything negative or bitter, but I do want to express the grief, the anger, and all the many emotions I went through during this time in my life. Yeah. So I would say off script, misunderstood, and unless it's you. And for different reasons. Off script is about I'm a Virgo, and like you said, I'm really a professional person. So it's for things to go off script,
right?
Oh hell no! So that's the anger.
Over a strawberry. Over a strawberry.
Seriously, you know what I mean? And just oh my gosh, life blew up at me. And I did everything I could do right. That's that feeling. That's off script is, oh my gosh, what am I going to do about this? I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm pissed. What the hell? And then misunderstood is acceptance, the melancholia of things never being the same again.
Right.
But the hope that exists on the other side of knowing that maybe that's for the best.
Yeah.
And that was tough too, because that, again, that's like another side of like personal closure that actually comes with like a weird open end, because you're going to be continuing on, or at least for me, you know, I'm going to continue knowing this person, continue processing these experiences because we have a child. So it's also that. And then unless it's you, because to put into a song the deep, deep love that created my son. You know, that's like very sacred for me. Like I don't, you know, it's almost like going into, you know, just a deep conversation about your intimate love feelings is like just it's something I would never do until I was changed from this experience, from my son, from my just getting older and having realizations to get to the point to be able to even make a song like that and put it on an album. It shows just a big evolution to me of myself.
I felt that love in the album, you know, especially in the moment when you were like, I had a baby with you. Of course I loved you. Like, I chose this.
That's right.
I really identified with that.
Yeah.
I also identify with the fact that you're a woman in the limelight. So some things you have to process on your own. And I'm not in the limelight myself to the point where you are. But I do understand that feeling. If I'm going through a personal situation, people know my partner. I talk about my partner on air all the time, you know?
Yeah.
In some way, in an adjacent way, they know him. And it's like I'm processing the feelings that are happening right now, and I'm not ready to let it out.
That's right. That's right.
So in your situation, you were kind of forced.
Yeah, I definitely felt that my hand was being forced.
Yeah.
But I did everything over the course of that time to really like try not to, you know, lean into anything too much. You know, I tried to really just like really keep that tucked. And if there was a time where I could talk about that period of my life, whether it had been in my book or my music or wherever it could have been that I felt creatively I could transmute it, I knew that I would, but I just didn't have the words for that then.
And you can't talk about something that hurts. You have to process it before you can let people in.
Yeah.
I know what that feels like. I want you to pick a song that you want the audience to hear right now from the album Just Keke that's out right now.
I would say Misunderstood. That's really one of my favorite songs. Oh my God. The scariest thing I had to do was call a truce. I was hurting myself trying not to hurt you.
What?
I love that song.
Keke sang live on the beat. Wait a minute. She wasn't even like, let me get my tea. You know?
Yo, you sang, let me get my tea. Just gave me life. Let me get my tea.
Let me get my tea. When you ask people to sing, they'd be like, I need tea and honey. Keke Palmer, ladies and gentlemen, she's here. We have more with her on the way here on The Heat. You're in Mina's house. It's The Heat, SiriusXM. Keke Palmer is here. Her album, Just Keke, is out right now. Girl, you are popular. Okay? They trying to drag you out of here already. I feel like we just started talking.
Really just got into it.
So the album is out right now. You're talking about your previous, relationship, and we learned that you were cheated on.
It's so funny that everybody, you're talking about I want to know, right? Everybody thinks, I guess not everybody, but people that I've talked to are like, yeah, so this is about the cheating. It's actually about when you break up with someone and you're thinking about them moving on. That's really what I want to know is about. It's like, wow, like, so are you already in love? When something dies that you thought wouldn't die, you know what I mean? And you have to now start thinking of your life without them and what their new love is going to be. And the cringiness of even having that feeling, knowing that you walked away from it. That's what that song is about,
Girl, it's so powerful. I don't know how you're juggling all of this. And a 2-year-old. We both have 2-year-olds.
So, baby.
How are you dealing with momhood inside of releasing a visual album? Which, by the way, this is her lemonade moment, okay?
We are having a
don't put me on that
lemonade.
level. My girl B could never be
Okay. We just need the bat. That's what we need.
God.
But how are you balancing momhood and being a businesswoman? Right? You're doing movies, you're releasing an album, you have the visual album, and you're a mom.
The best way I can. I'll be honest, I do have support and help. My son has nannies. My mom is there. But I have the blessing of him being so young right now that he's able to be with me, where I'm at. I know eventually he's going to end up going to school and stuff like that. And so that's why I do appreciate the assistance that I have so that he can be a part of my life and that I don't have to it doesn't have to be so separate. He's a blessing, my son is, and I feel like I've also gotten better at putting time that I used to not do for myself, but that is so much easier to do for my son, where it's vacations, I'm gone weeks. I mean, I used to never be able to tell my team that because I was just like, yeah, this is great, and I just kept riding the wave even knowing that I was tired. Where now, because I have a son that I want to spend time with, that I want to be good for, it is so much easier to plan my life around that being the pinnacle piece.
Yeah. So I'm a mom like you who's balancing momhood and having a business and being a kind of like a person in the limelight in a way. I feel guilty all the time.
Yeah.
Do you have that? Like, what do you feel guilty about? And for me, it's like, I want to read to my daughter every night, but sometimes it's so crazy that she's asleep before I can even take my makeup off.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's like, I feel guilty about not being able to do that. Do you have that?
Of course. I have the guilt all the time. I think anybody that's a mom, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or whether you're a working mom, I think the mom guilt is inevitable.
Yeah.
Because you always going to feel like it's never enough for your child.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to always feel like you could have did more, you could have did better. But I think what my mom has helped me with was to understand that my child needs me to be 100%.
Yeah.
You know, and as long as I'm making sure that I'm providing and doing what I can for myself and making sure that he's good at all times, that's the best thing that I can do. Whether it's good all the times when you with grandma, with your auntie, or you at my job and there's somebody there that's helping you and making sure that you're good. Like, whatever that situation may look like for you, I think it's important that we support each other. You know what I'm saying? And saying there's no, that's why I don't like online when people are attacking other moms or saying you should do this. You're creating this very like, scared feeling from mothers, because we're all trying our best. And we're all figuring it out the way that it works for us. So we should applaud each other. However we're doing it, that is getting done for our baby, applaud each other. And so I extend that to you, and I hope you extend that to me too.
Yes, I do, of course. You're being amazing. Girl, I'm just doing radio. You're doing movies. You're doing music.
Radio's hard. I gotta be up way too early.
I don't do the morning show anymore, girl. I do the night show. I did the morning show for 2 years. I'm not doing that. You couldn't pay me enough. I want to get to the movies because you're about to be whisked away from here. One of them days, the sequel?
Girl, I can't believe that happened like that. Like,
it just came out.
Are you kidding me?
SZA's on tour right now. You have a visual album out.
I can't even deal. My girl, I gotta come see the show. I know she's killing it. But yeah, I'm excited for number 2. We're already working on what it's gonna be like. And where are our girls now, and what's the next one of them days that they're going to be having. So I can't wait for people to see it.
I need SZA to get a job. I need her to get a job in this one, okay? You tell Issa she needs a job.
I'm howling.
I'm tired of it watching you carry people, Keke, in the movies and everywhere. The pickup?
Yes, so I have the pickup coming out with Eddie Murphy and Pete Davidson with Amazon in August, and I'm super excited about it. It was so much fun to film. We filmed it in Atlanta, and I actually get to play like a villain character, which is very interesting. I've never done it before, so you know.
Do you have the villain suit? I love it.
Like a little villain combat look.
I love that. Okay, we could be a superhero even if it's a bad one.
Literally.
A villain. Keke, love you. Keep doing your thing.
Love you too.
Sending love to your family, your mother, your support system, your child, your son. And Just Keke, the album, the visual album, is out right now. It's Mina SayWhat. You're on the Heat, SiriusXM. You're in Mina's house. Pow!